Hi, and welcome to my channel. I have got fantastic news. I have finished all of my 50 Before 50 series. They're all done. I do not have to read anymore. And I did it when I'm still 46 years old. And I thought, what better way or what better day to tell you guys than on April the 1st? Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda. I'm back for more jokes on me. I'm trying to make my way around this board, and I just do not know how it's going to happen. Anyway, I have read 10 books so far. Let me show you where I am. Okay, I have read or DNF'd all 10 of these books, and I'm down here at the bottom, which is a readathon book, and that was the last one I read, which I just realized was the reading list, and I didn't have it on there. So then I was driving on vacation, and I had to just take a picture of the next card. So the next card was an ace, and so then I moved forward one, and I have to read a short book. And I'm reading Daring Greatly, or that's what I read already. So I started drawing these as I was driving home from my vacation, which is why you have to look at the pictures of what I have drawn. So Daring Greatly is a nonfiction by Brene Brown. If you've read any of her stuff or even heard about her, she is a shame researcher, shame and like bravery, wholeheartedness, she calls it a lot. And so I think her other book is The Gifts of Imperfection. That's like her most well-known book that I think she wrote before this one. Anyway, Daring Greatly is part of the quote by Theodore Roosevelt about the man in the arena. So if you just Google man in the arena Roosevelt quote and say hi to Django. Anyway, it'll come up. I know we've already talked about how dark it is. I'm working on it, I promise. Hopefully this will be the last video where it's dark, that I'm dark. Anyway, secondly, this book, if you read the audio, Brene reads the audio 6 years after she wrote the book is when she did the audio. And she just had a couple things to say in there about how it's different now 6 years after she wrote it originally. I thought it was so well done. It was really good. It gave me a lot of stuff to think about as far as like my life and raising children and in the workplace and a bunch of different ideas about how to be courageous and vulnerable, but vulnerable in a way that is healthy. And anyway, I really, really enjoyed it. So then it was the time to pick another card. And the bad news is I got a 7. So a 7 means that you jump across the board. So Bailey says, if you fold the board in half, where would you end up? That means I would end up at the top of the board, which is a readathon book. So I went over to my bingo board that I'm doing for Seasonathon, Readathon, and I needed to pick a book from there. And since I was driving and I had just done the kind of serious nonfiction, I was like, I'm going to pick a romance. Okay, so I think I took a break for a second. I looked at all my stuff having to do with my camera, and I think I have it figured out. We will just test it and see. I know that there's still a reflection. There's still a glare. There's, for some reason, a glare on my forehead. Let me put my hair in front of it. Okay, is that better? No. Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with it, but I have fixed it as much as I can, and now you can hear what I'm saying better. In addition to the rest of it, y'all, I'm a hot mess right now. So I went with Walk of Shame by Avery Flynn. You can't tell from the cover, but this is a hockey romance. But I do like that they didn't make it overt on the cover because it's kind of not directly a hockey romance. So we have our girl who was dumped at the altar by her boyfriend, who is a hockey goalie. And then we have the new guy that she meets 5 years later, who is working for her father, the coach of the hockey goalie that left her at the altar. And the new guy is the goalie coach. So is that all very confusing? Anyway, she is now back to work for her dad, and the goalie coach is working with her ex, and things happen from there. I thought that it was really cute. I like Avery Flynn. I've already read a couple of her books, and I will definitely be picking up any of the rest of them that I can from her. She is now an auto-buy author for me, and I will definitely be picking up more. So, after Walk of Shame, that's the last book that I've read. So now we're in real time, except when we were driving and I was almost finished with Walk of Shame, I went ahead and drew my next card. I was kind of hoping for a 7, which would jump me back across the board, but instead I got a 2. So I need to come back here so I can show you. So 2 is a random color. And so the next book that I started reading, or the book I started reading next, needed to have a random color. And so here's the picture I took of the random color that I drew. I didn't draw it, I randomized it. And then I went and looked at my whole set of books right here, all my books, and I went with the one that was closest to that color. And so I am now going to be reading Wings of Ebony. I've actually just started it, so we're going to pick up right here. I did do a couple of things, so let me show you. First, I took out all the books that I have finished. So now let me get my head off of here. This is what's left. These are all the books that I now have left to read. I need to read 4 more for the bingo board by the end of March, which is fine. It's just the 10th of March right now. And I think I only have 2 of them that are on Kindle. I know this was our pact. It's a graphic novel, and I have it on Kindle. And Dwellings is a graphic novel that I have on NetGalley, so I'm going to kind of be reading those in the background. Also, Shadow of the Fox, I started today during reading sprints on Amy's channel at A Star Reads, because we were sprinting over there to read for Season-a-thon, the bingo board. This is currently what my bingo board looks like. So once I finish Shadow of the Fox, which is for 8 different ones, I will have The Vines, Death and the Conjurer, The 10,000 Doors of January, and Longshot. Those will be the 4 that I have left when I finish Shadow of the Fox. And my bingo board will be completely covered. Okay, the other thing I wanted to look at was my done. From my done to the left, if you were here for that catch up, you'll see what I have going on. So this doesn't count. This is the same thing I just showed you. For my Sims TBR, all I have left is The Woman Who Would Be King. For tabletop TBR, I have Grown and Uprooted left. For After Hours, only The 10,000 Doors of January. For the Bingo TBR, I have 4 books left for there. For NetGalley, I've got quite a few still left. This is my other NetGalley. I finished 1. I have the other 3 left. For my storygraph for January, I still haven't finished any of them. For my storygraph for February, I finished 2 of them. So I only have Strangelove and The Murder of Graham Catton, which now is a good time to say that if you're looking for this book on audio, there is an audio version, but the book is called Possession by Katie Lowe. So I guess they eventually changed the name of it when it came out, or maybe now they've changed the name of it to Possession. But in any case, this book has 2 different titles. So then we've got my M&M TBR, where I have Things in Jars and Angels Ink left. Then my TBR Star Hop the last time I played it. So I still have quite a few of these left. However, I'm reading Wings of Ebony right now. So my TBR cards, I have not read any of these. These are the newest games. I did read The Fireman, and I am reading This Was Our Pact. Oh, also Servant Mage is only available on Kindle Unlimited, which means I'll be reading that one as a Kindle book in the background while I'm doing other things. Tales from Two Trails, I've read 2 of them. I only have to read Magic Bites. I needed a letter generator with an M. That's all I have to do. There is a form for us to submit now, so I'm going to go submit The Fireman and the reading list over there, and that is it. So if you can see down at the bottom, I am 3 cards from having my done be on the end where I really like it to be. So maybe 4 cards, although I don't want to count the bingo card. because I'm not really reading anything off of this. I'm reading other things that count for that. So anyway, I got to get 3 cards moved over. So maybe those will get picked soon in my Joke's on Me game that I'm playing, because really the joke has been on me. There are a lot of books that I have read and I have barely moved anywhere around the board. So far for this video, I've read Daring Greatly and Walk of Shame, and now I'm reading Wings of Ebony. So I will be coming back and to tell you what's going on and what I think about this book. So far, I really like it. I'm probably 25 to 30% of the way through, and I like how we start out and what things are, the way things have happened, what's been going on, the magic that we've learned about. Like, I really like it so far. So I'm going to read it some more, see if we can get ourselves on around this board. How long is it going to take? I don't know, but I'm about to start playing some new TBR games. I've had people playing games for me, and I'm very excited to get there, watch them, and start going. So I'll be back with Wings of Ebony to let you know what I think about it. Okay, so I finished Wings of Ebony last night, and I really, really liked it. So we are following a girl. At the very beginning, we are with her as she is going back to visit her sister. And we don't know what's happened before that or why she wasn't with her sister, but we quickly find out that her mom died the year before, and her sister was put into foster care. They do not have the same fathers. So her sister was put into foster care, but her biological father was coming to pick her up. And so she didn't even know who he was. Well, it turns out he's like a magic guy. That sounds weird to say he's a magic guy, but he is. So he's also pretty popular or high ranking in that other magic realm. And so we just follow her, who she doesn't want to be there. She didn't want to go to the magic realm. She didn't want to have anything to do with her dad. She didn't know him. As far as she knew, like, he ran out on them. And she just wants to get back to her sister. Well, there's a rule about, like, you can't touch someone in the mortal realm if you've already been in the magic realm. And her sister gets into a car accident. Anyway, things happen is all I'm going to say. And then she spends the rest of the book, like, trying to get her sister to safety at the same time as she's trying to understand her dad more and where he came from and what's up with the magic stuff. And it was so good. It was so good. There were some elements of what I would call Black Lives Matter, but that was never said. I just feel like there were elements of that movement in there, and there was a lot of, like, say that person's name, they mattered. Like, and so those words were used throughout. And I just think, I don't know when this was written. I didn't go back and look at any of that, but it was so well done, and I really liked it. I will definitely be going on to read the next book. That means, though, that we need to generate another color, because since I drew a 2, you have to do the prompt 2 times. So I've done the prompt once, and now I need a random color generator. Okay, here we go. Random color generator. Tarpaulin gray, like a tarp. Tarpaulin. Listen, this is one of the words that we make fun of my daddy for saying. So, hi, Daddy. My daddy says tarpaulin. So I don't even know how it's pronounced. I just know the way my daddy says it. But it looks like tarpaulin. Who says that? Nobody in Arkansas says it like that, I can promise you. How am I going to find? Oh, you know what? I can probably find a gray book. Let's go look. Here are all the books I have left, minus this one. So let me get this one done out of the way. And let's find a gray, like the color of a tarp. Let's also just agree to call it a tarp from now on. You know what? I like this Aggie Morton. Doesn't that seem like it would be? But that's one of the ones I have to buy. And I was kind of trying to hold off on those in case I drew the card that said buy a book. And you know what? The Song of Blood and Stone looks pretty gray. Let me make it bigger. Yeah, maybe I'll go with that. The Song of Blood and Stone. Wow, I'm kind of scared of it already. But we've got horses and lances and, I have no idea what this book is about. But anyway, I think that's going to go for our gray cover. So let me get it copied over here on our board. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so it matches. There we go. And technically, these were part of the same thing, so I'm going to put them on top of each other. And there we go. Song of Blood and Stone is the next book I'm going to read. So I'll be back to check in once I get done on it. Also, in the middle of all of this, I need to read 6 books that are for a secret TBR that I can't tell you about until the end of March. So you won't know this, but it might be a minute before I get going on Song of Blood and Stone or get ready to update it. Anyway, that does not matter to you, as you will just see it in the next clip. Okay, it's been almost 2 weeks, like a week and a half, and I read the rest of those books I needed to read, and I just finished Song of Blood and Stone. Now, I loved the first 75% of this book, but then we get a nice, cute little, everything's wrapped up in the very end, very neatly, very nicely. And I didn't really like that as much, but it's like a fantasy romance. I would call it more fantasy than romance, but there's definitely a lot of romance in it. So I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's more romance than I feel like it was. But anyway, this one was good, not fantastic. I probably would give it 3 stars, which is pretty low for me, honestly, but I think I would give it 3 stars. And I am undecided whether I'm going on to book 2 or not because it is part of a series. But that means that we are all done. Let me show you where we are at the end of this episode. Okay, so I've got myself over here. We finished. I drew a 2, so I had to read 2 of the same prompts, and the prompt was a random color. So I had a purple color and a gray color, and I read both of those. So I've read 4 books since we started this one. So I'm going to make all of these be pretty transparent like I did the rest of them, and we're going to scoot them over to the side because I'm about to start the next round. Because seriously, I don't know how many books this is, but we've moved from right here where we started on reread a random number to right here because of the Joker and the 7s. They're the ones that I hate the most, but I am so excited to be drawing again and playing another round. So I'm going to get the other books grayed out kind of, or more transparent, and then get everything moved over, and I'll start the next one. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought about them, and then we will just jump right into the next one. I'll see you then. Bye.